Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Anna.
Very glad that you're joining us for the interviews. And I understand that you're a commercial project manager at Ardmore Shipping, right? And could you walk us through your day-to-day at Ardmore Shipping now?
So I started in the commercial side in shipping about 21 years ago, 22 years ago. And my background has always been in the commercial side, both in chartering and operations. The last 5 years or so, that scope has changed to more focus more on internal projects that touch our bottom line. And organically or naturally, that role has now encompassed anything that has to do with innovation and usually technology and process efficiencies and sustainability. So it's been an interesting journey, and I'm happy to be here today.
How did you come up to take up the career in energy?
That's actually one of those funny stories because I always say you either love shipping or you hate shipping and you leave right away. You won't last. And for me, it was just the lure of working with different cultures and traveling. And I told myself I do this for a year and then I go and find a real job. But lo and behold, I fell in love immediately and haven't looked back since. And it's been an exciting journey.
And I understand that you started in chartering initially, right?
Correct.
What does the future of shipping look like to you?
I don't want to sound too cliche, but obviously decarbonization is top on the agenda these days. However, it's about managing that delicate balance between energy transition and energy security and affordability. So it's a giant step that we need to take step by step, but that's where the future is headed, I believe.
You had significant experience in shipping and as a charterer and in the energy industry as a whole. Do you think from that standpoint, it's important to forecast the risks in shipping when assessing or addressing the fluctuating energy markets?
Most definitely so. The reason behind is that our industry and our market is becoming more and more transparent. The information sharing has increased substantially. And in order to stay on top of all the data and information, you need a better data set in order to make better decisions at the end of the day. To be able to see the base trend line and to be able to use that to forecast what the future might hold for us. And in that sense, nowadays it's amplified due to geopolitical risks, weather and climate change and impact like Panama Canal that we've seen, the structural changes in the market due to wars and discourse in the world. So all of these things keep us on our toes, and it's the volatility that creates opportunities and risks, and we can't make the right decision without the right data set.
And do you think it's easier to assess the risks now than it was, for example, a few years ago or 10 years ago?
I'm going to say yes or no. And the reason is because there's so many information out there, so much information, and it depends on how well you gather and how good the data set is, and then also to display it correctly and efficiently in order to make those decisions. Because as you know, if you walk into an aisle and there's 2 brands of cereal, it's very easy for you to make a decision. If there's 30, it actually stresses you out, the studies have shown. So we're at a point in our industry where we're inundated with data, so much data that sometimes it's difficult to sort through it all to find the information that you're looking for. So again, yes, it's helpful and you have a lot more data set at your fingertips, but it also depends on what tools you're using to make the best decision out of that data set.
And if we move forward towards the state of transparency in general in the global energy markets, what do you think will or has already become the catalyst to solving the energy trilemma?
I think it all has to do with timing. I think technology has always been there in the shipping industry. But that technology has become more scalable, and and the price has come down. It has become more affordable. Innovation is more accepted since the pandemic, where people are working from home and they're realizing actually we can use technology to help us make better work together or make better decisions. Of course, we can't forget the geopolitical risks of recent events, threats, or discrepancy in supply, which puts you under immense pressure to try to cover yourself and find that energy security. And all of these things combined with climate change and extreme weathers, it creates real imbalance and volatility. And that made it easier for us to kind of now start using technology to help see that better, to understand the data better.
And as I understand, the energy market has always been very dynamic and there's been so much change in the past. What do you think the global rhetoric around female leadership is like right now in the industry?
I think it's made leaps and bounds and strides. I mean, the big oil majors have always been pro-diversity, in whatever sense of that word. But I think now the more conservative, so the trading houses, the owners, and the broker shops are understanding, and organizations in general are understanding that diversity means better decision making, because you bring different thoughts and opinions and experiences to the table. And especially working for a company like Ardmore, who really focuses on diversity and in the importance of it. I mean, we have 42% of our shore staff that is female in leadership. We also are encouraging, working with our partners, Anglo Eastern, on having more female cadets on board as well as just encouraging voice and diversity on our board as well. If you look at our board members, we have at least 2 female members, and it's been really refreshing and encouraging for me as an upcoming female member of the industry to have somebody to look up to up on top. So I think we're making progress. Ultimately, it's about your merit. You also want to be able to prove your worth, for the role, but people are a lot more open to it. So that's always a positive.
Is there any piece of advice that you would give to your younger self when you were just starting your career?
I think, thankfully for me, I had a lot of good mentors and support, and worked for organizations that valued diversity as well. But perhaps if I can give myself an advice, it might be maybe don't underestimate your value to the organization, and speak up, and yeah, exactly, don't doubt yourself. Sometimes you tend to do that when you're young, and then when you're also the only female in the room at times. But yeah, it's important not to think that way, maybe.
How do you think we can strategize a way to move forward to make a more inclusive and gender inclusive industry?
I think it needs to kind of come from top down, meaning the organization's core culture and value and belief system must believe that diversity equals more profit, better decision making, and just generally better for your workforce, right? You don't want a bunch of robots, somebody that's exactly like you, just all around you, right? It's the diversity that makes it fun. And that's why I enjoy shipping. It's because of that diversity of nationalities that you get to deal with, and sort of that the risk factor of understanding the geopolitical impact on our trade. So similar to that, I believe that it needs to come from the top. Yeah, it needs to be embedded in the organizational culture.
Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you for your time.